Ah, welcome back to the Quarters of Chaos. Come, step into the light, for it is the only place that the shadows cannot reach. I am, of course, the old man. There has been a lot of talk lately about Warhammer and other systems as well. How do they retain new players? How do they recruit new players? How do you keep it going year after year, bringing new people into the hobby? And also, of course, retaining those like me who have been involved for decades. There is no one simple answer. Some would say, make all the models cheaper. Sure, that could work. Some would say, make all the rules for free. I would like to see that too. But how do you draw people into it to begin with? And how do you make sure that those who have been in for a long time still feel energized to participate in the hobby? The answer to that, it depends on your point of view, of course. But I would like to posit my own theory on this. And this could be, and we'll talk about this momentarily, it could be anything. It could be Magic the Gathering. It could be Warhammer Age of Sigmar. It could be Conflict 47. Trench Crusade, Dungeons and Dragons. Some of these names have been around for decades already. What inspires players to come into it in the first place, but also retain old-timers like me? It is the art. You might have a great gaming system, but if nobody's interested and nobody knows about it and nobody sees it, no one's going to want it. Same thing with the models for Warhammer, let's say, being cheaper. Well, that's great, but how do you get people to actually want to buy in? It is the art. It is the art which fires imaginations. Yes, it is the lore that will keep you coming back, or the gameplay, or once you've gotten into it, you're doing the modeling, and you enjoy that aspect. It's the art that draws you in first. That is what really brings people in. Furthermore, good art inspires old hobbyists, perhaps to start a new project, or perhaps to say, hey, this gives me an idea for a story, or I'm going to make one character, though, based on this artwork. It is the art, the visual, that fires your imagination and brings you in. Everything else, you need those things too. But it is the art that is essential. If you look at this piece right here, obviously, this is not an official Games Workshop piece of art. I got this at a convention several years ago, and immediately I recognized the reference. It's a historical reference. Battle in World War II at Iwo Jima, where Americans hoisted the flag on top of Mount Suribachi. that moment was captured in a photograph. Well, it was restaged, but I think you know what I mean. It was captured in that photograph, and that photograph became a symbol that America was going to win in World War II. Obviously, this artist took that as some inspiration and decided, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And it fired, obviously, the artist's imagination. He has seen other Warhammer art before. And then I saw this, and I said, wow, this is really good. So, of course, I bought it. But the point is, the art is what keeps this going, this visual medium. And then, of course, you've got the lore and everything else. The issue before us, though, and this is affecting a lot of different game systems, even video games, even comic books. So much of the visual now is homogenized, bland, pastel-colored. Some of it, frankly, looks AI to me. That doesn't mean it is, but so much of this doesn't look compelling. And I fear that if we lose that aspect, our hobby could begin to diminish. So I'd like to take a look now at some of Warhammer art through the ages, if you will, but also take a look at some other gaming systems like Magic and see if this is widespread, this homogenization of the art. Because if that goes, all of these hobbies could well be in trouble.
And here it is, an image from a few months back that have sparked large debate in the Warhammer community. Did they use AI to create this drawing? It looks like the Space Marine has 5 fingers instead of 4 and a thumb. Perhaps it's another one of the Emperor's changes to them as they become Marines, like Betcher's gland, but now we've got 5-Finger McGee. I don't know. But this set off a firestorm on the internet about AI use in things like Warhammer, etc. But it also got me thinking, it's not just about the AI, it's about the art in general, and how homogenized and bland it has become in recent years.
Before we go any further, I want to make 2 disclaimers. First, I have indeed myself used AI to generate my intro image and my concluding image here on YouTube. I am no artist. I am not a digital artist or anything else. So, yes, I did use AI for those purposes. But the other disclaimer, I'm not making money off of this. I am not passing this off as a premium service that you pay a premium for. If I'm going to pay GW top dollar, I expect top dollar art in those books, in their media. Here at the Quarters of Chaos, I'm not charging anything. There is no Patreon, no pay now and join my Discord, none of that. So when I made the AI intro and conclusion to my program, that's it. And I am in no way, shape, or form saying that I am an artist. Just something to consider. AI should be a tool, but not a replacement for real art. Certainly not art that we are going to pay for.
So what brings people into hobbies like Warhammer 40k, or Dungeons and Dragons, or Magic, or Pokemon, or any of these other things, whether it's tabletop wargaming, card gaming, role-playing, whatever? I would submit to you that it is not the models, though they are eye-catching, and it's not necessarily the lore. You have to get invested in it before you get invested in the lore, I would imagine. Certainly not the rules, at least not for Warhammer. I would submit to you that it is the art. The pieces of art that you might see on the cover of the box, or in the rulebook, or in a supplement, or on, if you're talking about Magic, the card art themselves. It is the art that fires the imagination. You see these characters, these individuals, these settings, and you become invested in that. And that is what will compel you to paint models. That is what's going to compel you to get into it in the first place. Yes, there are some who want to win and all that, but the fact is, I would contend that a vast majority got into it because of the art. If you look at 40k, for example, I didn't get involved in 40k until 3rd edition in the mid to late 1990s. And some of the art there was just amazing, fantastic. Now, there were also a lot of diverse styles happening. John Blanche is very different from Adrian Smith, for example. And I would tell you that while not all the art pieces in 3rd edition were great or anything, there's still something special about them. And that's not just nostalgia talking. There are pieces of art more recently that are also very, very compelling. You see that art and you get a feeling for that universe, whatever it is. And again, not every piece of art in the 90s was great. I know this may sound like heresy to some. I did not like all of John Blanche's work. The work I did like, though, was beyond compare. But I didn't like everything that he did. One of my favorite artists is actually Adrian Smith. Some of his drawings, particularly of the forces of Nurgle marching forth, that really inspired me in such a way. I actually made a copy, blew it up, and I have it hanging over my art station. I would also submit to you again that this idea of the art, the drawing style, the color, the exotic worlds, I would say that is true for any type of game that we're talking about. When I was younger, way back in the 1990s, I loved Magic for the same reason. The card art was just amazing. And again, not every card, but enough that I wanted to use those cards and my imagination ran wild. Dungeons and Dragons, some of that old artwork is very inspiring. To this day, I think of it. So, what's the problem now in terms of art? There have been, to me at least, issues lately with art styles, whether it's in Warhammer 40k or Magic or D&D. Now, some of it may very well be AI slop. we know that, yes, you can generate a lot of art fairly quickly with AI. Now, of course, Games Workshop has made some mistakes there. The infamous six-fingered marine. But it's not just AI. There are other, more troubling trends when it comes to art in these books, on these cards, etc. So much of the art, whether it's AI or not, is very bland. I don't feel as compelled by a lot of the artwork that I see in Warhammer codexes, etc. I don't see it. I don't get it. It doesn't appeal to me the way a lot of the old art did. And if you look further, a lot of the colors, it almost seems so pastel. And I see that in D&D a lot. I see it in Magic to a degree, and unfortunately, I am seeing it in 40K. These pastel colors, these bland, boring styles, there's nothing there that makes you go, yes, I want to be like this. I want to make something like this. I want to be in this world. I am sure a lot of that has to do with the fact that all of this, Magic, D&D, Warhammer, it is art by corporate committee. They want to sell, but they don't want to offend anyone. They're appealing to certain markets, and, well, they're not going to do anything to disturb that, to rock that boat, so to speak. I can't imagine Games Workshop hiring today, now, 2026, a young John Blanche to do their artwork. I could not see that happening. Because there is, and I understand it, but there is this corporate mentality. So the images that we get in our codexes, so many of them are just bland. They're homogenized. The problem with this is that if the art begins to decline, could it lessen people's imagination? Lessen their interest? Yeah, I see the models look cool, but whatever. Whereas if you see an art piece that is really inspiring, you would be motivated maybe to make a whole army like that. Dungeons & Dragons is also going through this. If you've looked at their most recent edition, I need not tell you about how the orcs, once fearsome and terrifying, now they look almost cute, which is something I never thought I would hear myself say. But flipping through the main book of D&D, the Dungeon Master's Guide and everything, so much of that artwork, not just the orcs, but so of it, it's just bland. I wouldn't want to be in that universe. I wouldn't waste my time. As of this recording, they did announce that they would be having more mature books for more mature audiences for D&D going forward. I don't know what that's going to look like, but maybe that means the art might be allowed to be a little more gritty or inventive. With Magic the Gathering, it is also hit and miss with the artwork. Some of the cards' arts are very nice, very well done. Others, it's obvious it went through AI somewhere. And others still seem to just be bland with pastel colors. It's happening in these major systems. And I am concerned as a long-time hobbyist in all of these things. I am concerned that if you weaken the artwork and you turn it over to AI, or you just make the most bland and uninteresting and unoffensive piece of art, that new players aren't going to come in, and old-timers like me, well, we're just going to wax nostalgic for the old days, and that's it. And it doesn't have to be that way. there are some good pieces of art in 40K still, and in D&D, and in Magic, but those pieces of art are becoming fewer and farther between. I would like to showcase 2 examples of how art can injure the hobby and how art in the books can help the hobby. Let us turn to Games Workshop and Inquisitor Torquemada Cotillas. The old model is one of my favorites. A hunky piece of metal. It was an amazing model. And the artwork that came out alongside of it was awe-inspiring. The red clouds, he's yelling something, and it looks like an apocalyptic scene. The character himself looks tough, strong, but also harried. He may not make it. He is desperate to make it. You can see it on his face. Now look at the other image. Recently, they redid Cotillas. I won't get into how the model makes it look like he's wearing a diaper. Let's not talk about that for a moment. Instead, look at the art that accompanied him with this book. I've read the book. The book was okay. But look at that art. Now, I'm not sure, did the sculpting inspire the artwork for the book? Or did the artwork for the book inspire the sculpting from the model? I really don't know. But the fact is, you tell me, the old image versus the new one. The old model versus the new one. Which looks better? Which is more inspiring? I know my answer. But now let's look at a more positive development recently. And I'm going to leave GW behind, though again, like I've said, some of their art is still good, but there's definitely a problem there. I'd like to talk about Trench Crusade. Now, I will admit, I was skeptical. Everybody was talking up, Trench Crusade. And I'm like, well, yeah, okay. Oh, it's going to beat GW. Yeah, okay, sure, fine. Doubtful. But my friend Pete got into it. And he was telling me all about it and how it's an alternate version of history where demons broke out of hell during the Crusades, and now we're up to 1914, World War I era, but the world is unrecognizable. And I said, oh, that's cute. I like my history stuff, so that was interesting, to say the least. But then he showed me the book, and I was blown away by some of that artwork. Now, some will say, well, it's a copy of GW from the old days. Well, if you've got John Blanche on board helping with the art, there might be some similarities. But it's not just that. They have an idea, and they have allowed their artists to express it. Even if it's gross, or disturbing, or scary. And the artwork, I just keep flipping through that book, looking at some of those pieces of art. I have decided I will eventually get an army or two. Since it's a skirmish, I could do 2 and I'd be fine with that. But the thing is, it's the art. There are other game companies out there that make miniature games, and not really, I'm not that interested. Trench Crusade, though, I saw that artwork in that book, and I'm like, you know what? I want to give this a chance. Games Workshop, I'm not going to say Trench Crusade is going to destroy Games Workshop, that is not the case. But Trench Crusade, I think, is on to something. Let the artwork speak for itself. Let it be a little more mature. Let the artist express himself. And if somebody sees this image and it's a little scary, well, that's up to you. I think GW and Magic and D&D, I think they have to learn from Trench Crusade a little bit. And say, yeah, we need to push the envelope a little bit more again.
Whether you agree or disagree with my theory, I hope that this video has been a little enlightening. Perhaps it's made you think about these things in a way that you might not have before. I believe that the art is what brings people and keeps people involved in whether it's Magic or Dungeons and Dragons or Trench Crusade or anything else. And I fear, looking at 30 years of history, 40 years of history, I'm afraid that that artistic technique is being lost. As I've already said, I did not like every piece of artwork by John Blanche, but I knew his style, and even if it wasn't my favorite, it compelled me. And then, of course, the ones I did like, forget it. But the fact is, those artists at that moment were able to capture things in a unique way. Same thing for Magic the Gathering, same thing for Dungeons and Dragons. But now, it's being put into a blender, and it all kinda looks the same. Thankfully, there are some out there like Trench Crusade who are trying to recapture some of that unique grim dark magic, who are letting their artists express themselves in different ways so that it all doesn't look like some corporate approved artwork. I hope I'm wrong. I hope that the art is unique and is compelling people to come in and stay in, but I haven't seen it. I have not seen really great 40K artwork. Yes, there were a couple of pieces in the Maelstrom and in the Eye of Terror that I thought were really good, but so much of it looked the same. Is AI to blame? I don't know. That is something we must all think about going forward. I would like to hear from you. What do you think of the state of the art of 40K right now? Or Dungeons and Dragons, or just in general? Am I incorrect? Is the art as strong as ever? Art is subjective. Or do you believe I might be onto something here? That if they don't put maximum effort into art, players will eventually fade. Hobbyists will eventually fade. Please let me know here at the Corners of Chaos. I would like to encourage such discussion. Did you hear it? Did you hear it? I think your time here in the Corners of Chaos is short. You must flee at once. Before you go, remember the wisdom. Editions may come and go, but chaos is eternal.